My name is Raiden Miller, and I was a model citizen of the 21st century, a proud practitioner of the art of coasting. My life's ambition was to hit the lottery jackpot and then lie horizontally until my warning expired. One morning I woke up in a king-size bed littered with rose petals, while a woman in a crisp housekeeper's uniform tried gently to wake me. "Mr. Miller, it's time to get up. Miss Sterling's flight arrives today. Weren't you going to meet her at the airport?" "Mr. Miller, Miss Sterling." A flood of unfamiliar memories washed over me. I took a full minute to process the situation. I had been transported into a book. Specifically, I was in a cheesy contemporary novel I'd once read, and I'd become the ultimate simp side character who, by some cosmic joke, shared my professional background. Raiden Miller. A hopeless romantic utterly obsessed with the book's female villain, the Ice Queen CEO, Ilara Sterling. In the book, Raiden Miller was a chef from a ridiculously wealthy family, but he groveled for Ilara's affection, showering her with cars, penthouses, and business connections. In the end, she used him as a pawn against the novel's hero, then kicked him to the curb. His upscale restaurant empire went bankrupt, and his ending was tragic. Ilara, as the villainess pitted against the hero, naturally met a grim fate herself. The hero left her reputation in tatters, and she vanished without a trace. After downloading the memories, I sat up. The face in the mirror was offensively handsome. Strong brows, sharp eyes, a nose that looked like it was sculpted by a Greek god. It was at least 100 times better than my original face. Okay, with a face like this, being an obsessed fool was at least somewhat believable. But I'm the new Raiden, not that lovesick puppy. My goal was clear and singular: stay alive, protect the Miller family fortune, and then find a nice, quiet corner of the world to fulfill my dream of doing absolutely nothing. So, step 1, follow the original script, play the part of the devoted simp, keep Ilara from getting suspicious, and wait for her to break off the engagement. Once the engagement was off, I'd be free of this whole mess. "I know, have the car ready," I told the housekeeper. "Showtime. First day on the job as a professional simp. Got to have the right attitude. I have to nail this airport pickup. I need to project a level of obsessive devotion that says 3 days without you felt like 3 centuries. The goal is to leave Ilara with a perfect first impression of a man who is both greasy and exhausting. Mentally psyching myself up, I changed into the flashy white suit the original Raiden had laid out. The taste level was just exquisite. An hour later, I was standing at the exit of the VIP arrivals terminal at LAX, clutching a gaudy bouquet of 999 red roses, craning my neck like a goose on its way to the chopping block. A stir at the gate. A phalanx of bodyguards in black suits cleared a path, surrounding a woman at the center. She wore a perfectly tailored black power suit, and her long dark hair swayed with each step. Sunglasses covered most of her face, revealing only a delicate jawline and a slash of fiery red lipstick. She radiated a kind of power that made the air feel thin. This was my fiancée, Ilara Sterling. I hurried over, plastering a look of enraptured adoration on my face. "Ilara, you're finally back. I missed you like crazy." God, that line makes my skin crawl. "Please, Miss Sterling, I'm begging you, just say get lost and let me experience the plot as written." Ilara stopped and took off her sunglasses. Her face was aggressively beautiful, her features so perfect she could have been designed by an AI, but her eyes looked like they were covered in a layer of permanent frost. She looked at me, saying nothing. What is he doing? Why is he yelling? I just got off a 13-hour flight and he's assaulting my ears. And those roses? 9 of them. Tacky, absolutely tasteless. The temperature around us seemed to drop a few degrees. I offered her the flowers, my smile widening. "Ilara, I got these especially for you. Do you like them? Come on, scorn me with your icy gaze, push these flowers away with your aristocratic disdain, and tell me, Raiden, this is a business arrangement. Cut the theatrics." I've even written the script for you. Just read the lines. Ilara's gaze fell to the roses in my hands, then slowly traveled back to my face. Seconds ticked by. She still didn't speak. The atmosphere was getting awkward. He's staring at me like a goldfish. And why is he wearing white? Is he trying to look like a male nurse? Wait, did he just call me aristocratic? How does he know what I'm thinking? No, impossible. I'm just tired. What's the holdup? Did she forget her lines? Maybe she's jet-lagged. This isn't right. According to the book, she should have turned on her heel and left me standing here in the wind, a laughingstock for the entire airport. Just as I was thinking this, Ilara finally moved. She didn't push the flowers away. She didn't curse me out. Instead, she reached out and with deliberate slowness pulled a single rose from the enormous bouquet. Then, she tucked that one rose into the lapel of my suit jacket. The gesture was gentle, almost playful. The arrogance in his eyes is strange. He looks like he's expecting a rejection. I can't reject him. That would be too simple. Let's see how he handles the unexpected. I was stunned. Everyone in the airport waiting to see me get shot down was also stunned. Ilara pulled her hand back and something flickered in those cold eyes. She spoke, her voice just as I'd imagined, cool and crisp like clinking ice. The flowers are nice, but the thought is unique. With that, she walked past me, flanked by her bodyguards, and headed toward the parking garage. I stood frozen, holding the remaining 998 roses, my mind a complete blank. That's not in the script. Who the hell are you? Did you get body swapped too? Quick, what's the password? The eagle flies at midnight. A cool voice came from behind me. Are you getting in the car? It was Ilara. She was standing next to a Rolls-Royce Phantom, looking back at me. I snapped out of it and hurried after her, still clutching the flowers. This is bad. The plot went off the rails from the very first minute. This woman doesn't play by the rules. My early retirement plan is in serious jeopardy. I slid into the car. Ilara was right beside me. The car was spacious, but her presence was so overwhelming. It felt like the air was being squeezed from my lungs. I decided to double down on my simp performance. Ilara, how was the business trip? Was it tough? You look like you've lost weight. I was so worried about you. As I spoke, I reached for her hand. Here we go. Act 2. A classic scene. She swats my hand away and warns me not to touch her. Come on, hit me with a no shame. Don't spare my delicate feelings. Oh, he's reaching for my hand. Textbook sycophant move. He's anticipating a slap. He actually looks wounded in advance. Ilara's gaze swept over my outstretched hand. Anticipating her rejection, I was already preparing to flinch back with a wounded expression, but the rejection never came. A cool hand settled over mine. She was holding my hand. I turned to stone. She held my hand. What are you doing, lady? What happened to the Ice Queen persona? The character arc? You're making me nervous. Did I get the wrong script? Is this not pathetic simp gets wrecked, but forced romance with a domineering CEO? Help! That's even more terrifying. His inner monologue is a riot. So he's not a fan of the script. This is getting interesting. This man is an open book. No, an open diary. Ilara held my hand, her grip neither tight nor loose. She turned to look out the window at the passing city streets, and her lips seemed to curve into a smile. I must have imagined it. Ice queens don't smile. It wasn't tough, she said, finally answering my earlier question. With you helping me carry the load, I'm not worried. Carry what load? For the past few months, all I've done is eat, sleep, play, and occasionally harass you with phone calls. Lady, do you have me confused with someone else? I'm just a useless bum who wants to coast through life. Ilara squeezed my hand. Raiden, she said suddenly, turning back to look at me, her beautiful eyes meeting mine. You're much more interesting than I thought. Her gaze was no longer just cold. It held something else I couldn't decipher. Curiosity? maybe scrutiny. It made my skin crawl. Interesting? How am I interesting? Is my simping technique particularly good? Or is my internal monologue just that entertaining? Lady, don't scare me. I'm a delicate flower. I swallowed hard and forced what I hoped was a deeply devoted smile. For you, I could be anything you want me to be. Please, I'm begging you, start hating me. Alara looked at me for a long moment, then let out a soft, low chuckle. That sound, as light as a feather, hit my heart like a tidal wave. I'm doomed. There is definitely something wrong with this woman. Will my retirement plan ever become a reality back at the Sterling Estate in Beverly Hills? Things only got weirder. According to the book, upon returning home, Alara would immediately leave me in the living room, go upstairs to work, and treat me like thin air. And I, like a loyal dog, was supposed to wait on the couch from dawn till dusk, only to be told by the butler that Miss Sterling is tired and won't be seeing anyone. At which point, I would leave heartbroken. It was a required course in simping. I was fully prepared to grow mushrooms on that living room couch. But after entering the house, Alara handed her coat to a maid, and then she actually sat down on the sofa. She even patted the spot next to her. Sit! I stood there dumbfounded. Wait, what? Aren't there billion-dollar contracts waiting for you upstairs? Aren't there a million urgent emails you need to answer? What are you doing sitting here? Are you planning to chat with me? We barely know each other. He's still standing there. Does he think this is a test? He's so transparent. It's almost endearing. Almost. I walked over stiffly and sat down beside her, occupying only the edge of the cushion. The perfect simp posture conveying a desperate desire for closeness, while also demonstrating my lowly status. I gave myself an A+. Alara took a sip of the coffee a maid had brought her. You said you missed me? She asked suddenly, her eyes fixed on the massive television screen in front of us. Here we go, a trick question. The standard answer should be, yes, I miss you every second of every day. I miss you so much I can't eat, I can't sleep. All right, time for my performance. I immediately switched into lovesick mode, my eyes filled with melancholy, my voice husky. Yes, Alara, every day you were gone felt like a year. A year? He's such a drama queen. His eyes are full of regret, but I suspect it's regret for having to say such a ridiculous line. Alara's hand, holding the coffee cup, paused. She turned to look at me, her expression a little like a teacher who had just caught a student in a blatant lie. What does that look mean? She doesn't believe me? That's impossible. My acting is Oscar-worthy. Not sincere enough. I'll add some more drama. I raised a hand and clutched my chest, my brow furrowed in a pained expression. This heart ached for you every day. Alara set her coffee cup down. The clink of porcelain on the table was sharp and clear. My heart leaped with joy. Yes, that's it. She's annoyed. The next line should be, Raiden, you're pathetic. Say it. I'm dying to hear it. Alara stared at me for a full 10 seconds. Just when I thought she was about to explode, she asked a completely unrelated question. Where did the flower on your lapel come from? I blinked. I looked down. The rose she'd pinned there was still perfectly in place. You gave it to me. Does this woman have amnesia, or is this a test? You did this not 20 minutes ago. He looks genuinely confused. It's too funny. I'll mess with him a little more. I know, Alara said. I'm asking whose idea was the bouquet. Who else? Me, obviously. According to the original simp character profile, tacky and over-the-top gestures are my signature move. Wait, don't tell me she actually liked the flowers. No way. Her taste can't be that bad. I answered honestly. It was my idea. When it comes to you, I don't think any welcome can be too grand. Alara fell silent again, this time for even longer. She just stared at me, her expression complex, as if studying a rare species. She was making me extremely uncomfortable. His denial is fascinating. He clearly hates the idea of being seen as grand or romantic. I need to keep him off balance. Lady, what are you trying to do? Just say what you mean. If you keep looking at me like that, I'm going to think you're falling for me. And we can't have that. I'm here for the money and early retirement, not for love. Ahem. Alara cleared her throat and looked away. Don't send flowers anymore. I was ecstatic. Here it is. She finally hates it. This is great. Step 1 complete. Why don't you like them? I asked, feigning hurt. He's delighted. I can practically hear the applause in his head. No, Alara said flatly. They're a pain to take care of. Next time, just wire the money. Me? Wire the money? What kind of plot twist is this? In the book, you were supposed to be scornful of my money. You said it was tainted, that it sullied your refined sensibilities. Why are you asking for it now? I was completely lost. This plot was derailing faster than my blood pressure was rising. Alara didn't seem to notice my stunned silence. She stood up. There's a gala tonight. You're coming with me. With that, she turned and went upstairs, leaving me with a view of her decisive back. I sat on the sofa, my mind a blank for a long, long time. A gala. In the book, Alara did attend an important business gala the night she returned, but she went alone. And I, the simp heartbroken after being rejected by her, went to a bar to get drunk. That's where I met the original hero, Caleb Vance. It was in that bar that Caleb pretended to console me, tricking me into revealing a key piece of intelligence about Alara's company, which became the first stepping stone to his later success. It was a crucial plot point, and now Alara wanted me to go with her. How was I supposed to run into the hero? How was I supposed to get duped? If the plot doesn't happen, what's the point of my character? If I'm not useful to her, how will she kick me to the curb? If she doesn't kick me to the curb, how am I supposed to break off this engagement? No, I can't go to this gala. I have to go to that bar and fulfill my destiny as a disposable plot device. My mind made up, I shot up from the sofa and rushed to the bottom of the stairs, shouting up, Alara! Her voice floated down from upstairs. What is it? I'm not feeling well tonight. I don't think I can make it. I began my performance, my voice weak as if I were about to collapse. That's right, I'm just that frail, that inconsiderate. Go on, be disappointed in me. Yell at me and tell me to get lost. He's faking it, trying to get out of it. He's planning to go to that trashy bar near downtown. The idiot. Does he think I don't know about the bar scene in the novel? There was a second of silence from upstairs. Raiden, Alara said, I've already called for my private doctor. What does it hurt, Sophia? At 7 o'clock that evening, I was dressed in a custom-tailored tuxedo, a radiant Alara Sterling on my arm, as we walked into a magnificent ballroom. Yes, I ended up coming. My claim of not feeling well was effortlessly thwarted when Alara said, I've already called for my private doctor. What could I do? I had to stage a miraculous recovery, claiming it was just a touch of low blood sugar and that I was now feeling perfectly fine. My life is so hard. This woman is completely off script. She was supposed to treat me like a disposable rag, but now it feels like she's treating me like a national treasure. How am I supposed to get out of this engagement? This is stressing me out. Alara's arm linked with mine tightened slightly. I glanced at her. She was looking straight ahead, but her voice reached me clearly. Stand up straight. Oh, now she's correcting my posture. Fine, you're the boss. After all, you're the key to my retirement fund. I straightened my back. A professional smile plastered on my face while my mind was already scheming. The novel's hero, Caleb Vance, should be here tonight. He was attending as a rising star entrepreneur looking to network and find his big break. And his biggest break was Alara Sterling. Tonight, he was supposed to accidentally bump into a waiter, spilling red wine all over Alara's dress, and then use the apology as a chance to start his performance. He would act humble, polite, and self-assured, a stark contrast to the other shallow peacocks like me, thereby catching Alara's interest. It was the beginning of their fateful connection. Now that I was here, I could get a front row seat to the hero's grand entrance and maybe cause a little trouble. I couldn't have those two actually hitting it off. What if Alara falls in love and forgets to break up with me? Just as I was thinking this, I caught a familiar figure out of the corner of my eye. He was wearing a rented tuxedo that looked a bit too tight, but his eyes were bright and burning with ambition. It was him, Caleb Vance. Here we go. The heroes entered the building. Ladies and gentlemen, behold, our great protagonist, a hypocrite who uses his knowledge of the future to climb over everyone else. He is now preparing to execute Plan A, orchestrate a meet-cute with the female villain. Alara's pace slowed. She followed my gaze and saw Caleb. You know him? She asked. Never seen him before, I said, shaking my head with the perfect amount of arrogance, as if to say, why would a lowlife like that even register to me? Know him? I'd recognize him if he were a pile of ash. That bastard screws me over big time later in the book. Just you wait. Tonight I'm collecting a little interest. A pile of ash. His inner monologue is so aggressive. He must be truly threatened by the hero. Alara didn't say anything else, simply guiding me toward another part of the room. But the wheels of fate, or rather the feet of Caleb Vance, were unstoppable. We had just stopped at a small table when Caleb, holding 2 glasses of red wine, casually scanned the room and then started walking directly toward us. He looked a little unsteady on his feet, as if he wasn't used to such formal events. Tisk tisk, look at that acting. So over the top, so contrived. Buddy, you got a do-over on life, and your skills haven't improved one bit. You're about to trip, aren't you? Sure enough, when Caleb was just 2 steps away from us, his ankle twisted, his body lurched forward, and the 2 glasses of red wine sailed through the air in graceful crimson arcs, aimed directly at Alara's white evening gown. Everything was happening exactly as it did in the book. I was actually a little excited. Here it comes. The classic scene. Go on, Alara. Follow the script. You're supposed to gasp and then get a full-body wine bath. I promise I won't stop it. Wine bath? Idiot. He's literally looking forward to me getting ruined. Well, I have no intention of letting that happen. But just as the wine was about to make contact with Alara's dress, I felt a powerful tug on my arm. Alara pulled me, and in one fluid motion we sidestepped. Just one small step. The 2 glasses of wine missed her completely, splashing against the giant decorative vase behind us, turning a bouquet of white lilies into a bloody crime scene. The room fell silent. Caleb was frozen mid-lurch, the look of panic on his face not yet having had time to morph into apology and awe. I looked down at Alara's hand, still gripping my arm, and I was just as stunned. Lady, you were supposed to get drenched. Why did you dodge? If you dodge, how is the hero supposed to strike up a conversation with you? How is he supposed to show how special he is? You've completely killed the vibe. Alara released my arm as if nothing had happened and smoothed out her dress. She didn't even glance at Caleb. Instead, she turned to me and said, The color of these lilies is a bit morbid now. Lady, it's not the lilies' fault. It's the hero's deep affection for you. If you don't play along, this is going to be really awkward for him. Caleb finally snapped out of it, his face instantly filled with regret and apology. I'm so sorry, miss. I didn't mean to. He apologized as he looked up at Alara, a look of prepared awe already on his face. And then he saw me. At some point, Alara had moved behind me, and I was now a human wall, perfectly blocking her from his view. Caleb's look of awe froze on his face, directed at me, another man. The atmosphere was thick with awkwardness. I cleared my throat, deciding to help him out. After all, I was a professional. Adopting the arrogant tone of a spoiled rich kid from the novel, I sneered. Who are you? Don't you watch where you're going? Do you have any idea who's with me? You couldn't afford to pay for the damages if you sold everything you own. That's right. I'm just that obnoxious, that arrogant. Alara, take a good look at this ugly display. Now compare it to the fresh-faced, humble hero next to me. You should be able to make the right choice now, right? He's doing a good job of driving the hero away. I should encourage this behavior. A flash of humiliation crossed Caleb's face, but he quickly hid it. He looked past me toward Ilara, his expression sincere. Miss, I'm truly sorry for ruining your evening. For your dress, I will... Before he could finish, Ilara peeked out from behind me. She glanced at Caleb, her eyes showing no emotion, as if she were looking at a billboard on the side of the road. Then she said to me, Raiden, I'm thirsty. I paused for a second. Thirsty? What does that mean? Oh, I get it. She's trying to send me away so she can talk to the hero alone. Yes! The plot had a little hiccup, but it's finally getting back on track. I immediately put on an I understand expression, ready to scurry off and fetch her a drink. Of course, Ilara. You wait right here. I'll go get you some champagne. I turned to leave, but a hand grabbed my wrist. It was Ilara. She held on to me and then waved over a nearby waiter. The waiter immediately approached with a tray. Ilara took a glass of juice from the tray and handed it to me. Then she looked at Caleb, who was still standing there awkwardly, and finally spoke. Sir, she said, her voice as cold as ice, if you have nothing better to do, perhaps you could help wash dishes in the kitchen. I imagine they're short-staffed. With that, she turned her back on him and, pulling me along, walked toward the ballroom's terrace. I was dragged along, my brain still trying to process what had just happened. What was that? Wasn't she supposed to send me away and then have a pleasant chat with the hero? Why did she take me with her and insult him? She told him to go wash dishes. This woman, what is she doing? It's almost like she was sticking up for me. No, that's impossible. She's the villain. I'm the simp cannon fodder. We're at the bottom of the food chain. Why would she help me? I must be overthinking it. She just hates being bothered. Yes, that must be it. Ilara pulled me all the way out onto the terrace. The cool night air was a welcome relief. She let go of my hand and walked to the railing, looking out at the city lights below. Just now, she said suddenly, were you defending me? My heart skipped a beat. She saw through it. I thought my performance was arrogant and obnoxious, not loyal and protective. Damn it, I'm breaking character. I quickly tried to salvage the situation. No, I just didn't like the look of him. Some broke loser trying to get close to you. He's not worthy of being in your presence. I tried my best to sound like a superficial snob who judged people by their appearance. He's lying, but the thought of him defending me, even with that ridiculous internal commentary, is satisfying. Ilara didn't turn around, just let out a soft, "Good job." She said, "Next time, make it nastier." Me? Make it nastier? Lady, we're supposed to be high society. We have to be civilized. That's a very dangerous line of thought. I couldn't follow her logic at all. This Ilara Sterling was nothing like the cold, disdainful woman from the book who only wanted to use me. What was she trying to do? I looked at her back, a sliver of genuine confusion rising in me for the first time. The atmosphere on the terrace was quiet. Ilara and I stood side by side, neither of us speaking. I snuck a glance at her. In the moonlight, the sharp angles of her face seemed to soften. Her long eyelashes cast shadows on her cheeks, making her look almost a little vulnerable. An illusion, it had to be. This was the woman who had single-handedly built her company, Sterling Industries, into an industry leader. There was nothing vulnerable about her. Still, she really is stunning, beautiful from every angle. It's a shame she's just a character in a book and a character doomed to a tragic end. If I could just get her away from the hero, that lunatic, maybe I could change her fate. Oh no, what am I thinking? I've got my own neck to worry about. I don't have time to worry about anyone else. I need to focus on how to get her to hate me as soon as possible. Raiden, Ilara's voice broke through my thoughts. Yeah, what do you think that man's story is? She asked. Oh, so she's interested in the hero after all. I knew it. The inertia of the plot is strong. She must be testing me, wanting to see my reaction. The standard answer should be get jealous, throw a fit, and then say a bunch of demeaning things about the hero to show how petty and insecure I am. I immediately adjusted my expression to one of scorn and jealousy. Just another opportunist looking for a shortcut. What could his story be? Alara, don't let him fool you. I've seen a million guys like him, all flash, no substance. I said it with such sincerity, I almost believed it myself. Alara turned her head to look at me. Her eyes were very bright, like two stars in the night sky. All flash? I didn't think that suit he was wearing even qualified as flash, she said flatly. Haha, that's savage. Absolutely savage. I love it. If Caleb heard that, he'd probably cough up blood on the spot. I struggled to keep from laughing, forcing my face into an expression of agreement. Of course, of course. How could he possibly compare to us? Alara changed the subject, throwing the question back at me. Why do you think he had the nerve to provoke us? Oh, that's not in the textbook. The book didn't say anything about this. According to the original plot, you were supposed to be charmed by him by now. Why are you asking me about his motives? Let me think. He's a guy who's reliving his life. He has information about the future. He knows Sterling Industries is going to face a major crisis, and he just so happens to have the solution. So he's acting cocky, thinking it's only a matter of time before you come begging for his help. He's putting out bait now, trying to hook a big fish like you. If I say all that, is Alara going to think I'm insane? My mind raced. Telling her directly was too risky. But if I didn't say something, it felt like she wouldn't let it go. Her eyes were like x-rays, seeming to see right through my act. I had no choice but to take a chance, speaking in a hesitant, speculative tone. My guess is that maybe he thinks Sterling Industries is going to run into some trouble in the future, and he just so happens to have the solution. I finished and watched her reaction nervously. That shouldn't be too far-fetched, right? I'll just play it off as a lucky guess, based on good business sense. Yeah, that's it. Alara's eyes narrowed slightly. That was a danger sign. In the book, whenever she made that face, someone was about to have a very bad day. She paused. How did he know about the trouble? Is he also a reborn? No, his thoughts are too childish. Is he just a highly perceptive idiot? Oh, her voice was unreadable. And how would you know that Sterling Industries is going to run into trouble? And there it is. The pressure was back on me. How do I know? I read it in a book. But I can't say that. I can't. What do I do? What do I do? I've got it. I immediately put on a fawning, worried expression and leaned a little closer to her. Alara, I'm just worried about you. I spend more time studying your company than I do my own. I saw you guys are bidding on that new renewable energy project in the South District, but it looks like your core technology patent is still pending. What if something goes wrong and a competitor swoops in and steals it? I'm just, worrying for nothing. I spoke vaguely, blaming my comment on my overwhelming concern for her. The South District Renewable Energy Project was the first major disaster for Sterling Industries in the book. Their core technology patent was registered first by a small unknown competitor, causing the project to fail and resulting in massive losses. And behind that competitor was Caleb Vance. This hint should be subtle enough, right? I've demonstrated my ignorance, worrying for nothing, while also pointing out the key piece of information. If she still doesn't get it, that's not my problem. The South District Project's patent, pending. He's right. That's the most vulnerable point. He knows something. He definitely knows something. Alara listened quietly as I finished. She didn't ask any more questions or argue with me. She just stared out at the distant city lights, lost in thought. The wind on the terrace seemed to pick up. I started to feel a little cold. Does she believe me? Give me a sign. Her silence is making me nervous. After a long while, Alara finally spoke again. Her voice was soft, but it held an undeniable authority. Raiden here. I'm going to give you an opportunity. My heart jumped. An opportunity? What kind of opportunity? An opportunity to break up. Say it. Are you finally completely disappointed in me and ready to call off this engagement right here, right now? I can't wait. I looked at her, my heart filled with hope. Alara turned around to face me. We were standing very close. I could smell the cool, clean scent of her perfume. That South District project, she said. As of today, you're in charge. The hopeful expression on my face froze. Come again? Me? In charge? In charge of what? In charge of running it into the ground? Lady, have you lost your mind? That's a multi-billion-dollar project. You're putting me in charge. A universally acknowledged screw-up? Are you trying to bankrupt your own company? My mind was screaming, but my face was a blank slate. Elara saw my dumbfounded expression, and the corner of her mouth twitched into a barely perceptible smile. What? No confidence? Confidence? I don't just lack confidence. I want to die on the spot. What kind of plot twist is this? Is she handing me this disaster so I can take the fall? In the book, Elara used me, but she was never this cruel. She's just throwing this ticking time bomb in my lap. She wants me dead and buried. Panicked, I started waving my hands frantically. No, Elara. I can't. I don't know anything. All I know is how to eat, drink, and have fun. Putting me in charge of a project like this is a joke. I had to refuse. If I took this on, my dream of early retirement would turn into a permanent retirement 6 feet under. His panic is genuine. He really doesn't want this, but he's the only one who can see the future. He has to take it. But Elara ignored my protests. She reached out and straightened my tie, which had been ruffled by the wind. Her fingertips brushed against my throat, a cool touch that sent a shiver down my spine. I say you can, so you can. Her voice was low, almost hypnotic. Didn't you say you'd do anything for me? Me? I've been cornered by my own simp persona. That was just an act, lady. You didn't actually believe it, did you? What do I do now? If I take it, I'm dead. If I don't, I break character, and who knows what kind of terrifying things will happen then. I looked into Elara's eyes, which seemed to see everything, and I felt like a rabbit caught in a hunter's trap with nowhere to run. She was testing me, testing to see if I was a real simp or just putting on a show, or maybe she was testing to see if my earlier comment was just worrying for nothing or a genuine prediction. In that moment, my mind spun at 1,000. Screw it, I'll take it. I'll take the job and run it into the ground. The project was doomed to fail in the book anyway. With me in charge, it'll just fail faster and more spectacularly. That will prove once and for all what a screw-up I am. And she'll be completely disappointed in me. And besides, it's better for me to be in charge than her. At least this way, she won't be the one getting screwed over by Caleb. In a way, I'm saving her. This is my heroic sacrifice. I'm a hero. With that thought, I squared my shoulders, and my expression instantly transformed into one of unwavering, death-defying devotion. I grabbed Elara's hand and placed it over my heart. Elara, you misunderstood me. It's not that I don't have confidence. It's that I'm afraid I'm not good enough to live up to your expectations. But I understand now. Any task you give me, I, Raiden Miller, will face it without hesitation. Even if it means walking through fire, I'll take the project for you. I would die 1,000 deaths. My speech was so moving, so epic, I almost believed myself. He's completely bought into his own drama. Die 1,000 deaths. What a performance. And yet, he is protecting me from the disaster he knows is coming. Elara watched my performance quietly, a flicker of a smile in her eyes. So quick, I thought I'd imagined it. Good, she nodded. I'll be waiting for your good news. With that, she pulled her hand away and walked back into the ballroom. I stood alone on the terrace, my legs feeling a little weak. For a second there, I could have sworn she looked happy. I looked down at my hands. This script, I muttered to myself, is completely beyond saving. The next morning, a phone call dragged me out of bed. It was Elara's assistant informing me that I was to be at corporate headquarters at 9 o'clock for my first ever and the highest level project launch meeting. The launch meeting for the South District Renewable Energy Project. Chef Raiden Miller, the glorious new executive, was about to make my grand debut. I hung up the phone and lay in bed like a corpse for 10 minutes. So this is really happening. I thought she might have been drunk and just talking nonsense last night. A spoiled rich kid, a total screw-up, is suddenly in charge of a $1 billion project. If this news gets out, Sterling Industries stock is going to plummet. This Alara woman has some serious nerve. Isn't she afraid I'm going to run her company into the ground? Or maybe that's exactly what she wants. She wants me to run it into the ground so she has a legitimate reason to kick me out. And then Caleb Vance can swoop in and save the day, playing the hero. Oh my God, that makes perfect sense. It's a classic setup. First, you build me up. Then you let me crash and burn, using my incompetence to highlight the hero's brilliance. It's genius. Absolutely genius. Once I figured that out, I wasn't nervous anymore. It's just acting. I can do that. It's just being a stepping stone. I'm an expert at that. My mission: to make this project fail. Fail spectacularly. Fail so badly, it becomes a legend. Then, Alara will be completely disappointed in me. Caleb can make his grand entrance, and everyone lives happily ever after. I cheerfully climbed out of bed and whistled my way into the shower. Time for work. Another glorious day of working toward my early retirement. At 9 o'clock sharp, I arrived at the top floor conference room of Sterling Industries. The massive oval table was already filled with people. All of them were elites in sharp suits, and every single one of them looked more like a project lead than I did. The moment I walked in, all eyes were on me. I could see curiosity, confusion, contempt, and unconcealed hostility in their gazes. Well, quite the welcoming committee. It seems the news of my appointment has already spread. The balding guy on the left must be Mr. Warren, the R&D director. He's looking at me like I murdered his father. Makes sense. In the book, he's the one who gets fired after taking a fall for my incompetent leadership. Don't worry, buddy. Your tragic end is just around the corner. The guy on the right with the gold-rimmed glasses is Leo, the marketing manager. He's all smiles on the outside, but I know he's cursing me out on the inside. In the book, he's Caleb's old college buddy and secretly feeds him information. What an actor. I mentally graded everyone in the room while putting on a timid yet slightly smug expression, the perfect picture of a small man who had stumbled into power. I walked over to the head of the table where Alara was sitting, reviewing a document. "Sophie, I'm here," I said quietly. "So many people. I'm so nervous. I'm just a screw-up. I don't belong here." Alara looked up at me and pointed to the seat next to her. It was the second most important seat at the table. I sat down, feigning surprise and humility, still only occupying the very edge of the chair. The atmosphere in the room grew even heavier. I feel like I could get cut by the tension in the air. This is exciting. Alara closed her file and scanned the room. "I called you all here today to make an announcement regarding the South District Renewable Energy Project. The company has decided to form an independent project team. The head of this project," she paused, her eyes landing on me, "will be Raiden Miller." Boom! I could almost hear the collective gasp in the room. Even though they had probably already heard the rumors, hearing it directly from Alara was a different kind of shock. Here it comes. My moment in the spotlight as the sacrificial lamb. Go on. Voice your doubts, express your disapproval, show me what you've got. As expected, the R&D director, Mr. Warren, was the first to break. He pushed up his glasses and stood. "Miss Sterling, I'm not questioning your decision. However, the South District project is of critical importance, and the technical challenges are immense. Mr. Miller, while young and promising, is not familiar with the technical field. To have him lead the project, isn't that a bit hasty?" He phrased it diplomatically, but the meaning was clear. "You're letting an amateur lead us. Are you insane?" "Well said, Mr. Warren. I applaud you. You stopped just short of calling me an idiot. Keep it up." I immediately put on a hurt expression as if I had been wrongly accused and looked to Alara for help. Alara leaned back in her chair, her fingers tapping lightly on the table. "Mr. Warren, are you suggesting that I don't know how to delegate?" A cold sweat broke out on Warren's forehead. No, Miss Sterling, that's not what I meant. You just think Raiden isn't up to the task," Alara finished for him. Warren fell silent, but his expression was a clear admission. Everyone in the room was watching us, waiting to see how Alara would handle this. Come on, Alara. Unleash your inner ruthless CEO. Say he's my choice. If you have a problem with it, you can leave. Use your autocratic power to pave the way for this company's downfall. Alara didn't look at Warren. Instead, she turned to me. Raiden, Mr. Warren is questioning your abilities. What do you have to say to that? Huh? Why is she throwing the question to me? What do I have to say? I agree with him. He's right. I'm not up to the task. My mind raced, trying to figure out how a simp and a screw-up would answer this question. I've got it. I shot up from my chair and looked at Warren with righteous indignation. Whether I'm capable or not isn't up to you to decide. It's up to Alara to decide. If Alara says I can do it, then I can do it. Even if I can't, I can. Are you questioning me? No. You're questioning Alara's judgment. My nonsensical tirade skillfully shifted the argument from my personal competence to a question of loyalty to the boss. I'm a genius. Not only have I solidified my reputation as an incompetent fool, but I've also managed to piss off the head of R&D. We're already 50% of the way to total project failure. Warren was so stunned by my outburst that his face turned red and he was speechless. The room was dead silent. Everyone was looking at me like I was an idiot. He's surprisingly good at corporate warfare. Use irrational loyalty to crush dissent. I like it. Alara looked at me and her eyes held approval. Approval for what? For my ability to argue like a toddler? Alara cleared her throat, breaking the silence. She looked at Warren, her tone flat. Mr. Warren, what Raiden said is what I mean. This personnel appointment is an announcement, not a discussion. If you feel you're not up to the task, you may say so now. Warren's face instantly went from red to white. He opened his mouth, but in the end, he slumped back into his chair, defeated. A classic power move. Alara had just crushed all dissent in the most direct way possible. Wow, this woman is willing to challenge a company veteran just to prop me up so I could fail spectacularly. It seems she's really committed to using me as a stepping stone. I'm so touched, and also I want to cry. The meeting continued. Next, they discussed the initial project proposal. As the project lead, I remained silent the entire time, my main contribution being my physical presence. The technical jargon they were throwing around was like a foreign language to me. On-exchange membranes, graphene electrodes. What is all this stuff? Doesn't sound very profitable. If you ask me, the real way to make money on this project is to think outside the box. Why bother with all this high-tech nonsense? It's too much work for too little reward. We should just apply to rezone the land and, under the guise of renewable energy, build a bunch of luxury condos. That's where the real money is. Whatever, my job is to make it fail. Why am I thinking so hard? I drifted off on the verge of falling asleep. After what felt like an eternity, the meeting finally ended. The executives filed out of the room, looking at me like I was a man on death row. I stretched, ready to make my escape. Raiden, stay. Alara's voice came from behind me. I froze and turned around obediently. Alara, what else can I do for you? The workday is over, boss. Can we talk about this tomorrow? I have a gaming session scheduled. We were the only two left in the conference room. Alara handed me a file. This is the project team roster and the initial proposal. Take it home and look it over. I took it. It was heavy. Okay, look it over. I wouldn't understand it anyway. It'll make a great paperweight. Also, Alara said, standing up and walking over to me, in the meeting just now, did you say you wanted to build condos? My brain short-circuited. She heard that? No way. Is her mind-reading ability that powerful? I was just spacing out, thinking random thoughts. She could pick up on that too? I was so shocked I almost dropped the file. I forced a smile that was uglier than a grimace. No, of course not, Alara. You must have misheard me. Why would I think something like that? Am I that shallow? I denied it vehemently. This was no joke. If I admitted it, it would prove that not only was I not paying attention, but my business sense was also completely warped. He's panicking again. It's definitely not mishearing. Ilara just watched me quietly, not saying a word. Her gaze seemed to say, "Keep digging." A cold sweat broke out on my forehead. Oh man, how do I get out of this one? Should I say I was talking in my sleep? Or maybe I should just admit it. I could say that while I don't understand the technology, I have a keen sense for business, and that seems like a faster way to make money. It fits my character profile as a profit-driven idiot, right? As I was debating, Ilara suddenly spoke. Your idea is very bold. I blinked. Bold? Is it a compliment or an insult? But she continued, it's not feasible. I breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, that's right. It's not feasible. I'm an idiot. Please tell me how stupid I am. The land in the South District is zoned for industrial use. We can't change that. Ilara explained patiently. And Sterling Industries was built on real industry. We don't get involved in speculative bubbles like real estate. She spoke calmly and rationally, like a teacher explaining something to a clueless student. I quickly took the opportunity to save face. Yes, you're right, Ilara. You're so forward-thinking, and I was being short-sighted, and it was just a crazy idea. As I spoke, I discreetly watched her expression. Phew, I think I got away with it. I have to be more careful about my thoughts during meetings. This is too dangerous. Ilara looked at me and then asked, So, do you have any real ideas for this project? Me, huh? Real ideas? My only real idea is to run this project into the ground as quickly as possible so I can retire. What kind of ideas could I possibly have? I don't know the first thing about this stuff. Wait. My eyes lit up. I had an idea. I looked at Ilara and said with utmost sincerity, Ilara, I think we should leave the professional work to the professionals. I don't know anything about technology, so I shouldn't be giving orders. My job is to provide support for you and the team, like ordering afternoon snacks, organizing team-building events, boosting morale. That's what I'm good at. I had just positioned myself as the team's cheerleader and logistics manager. This way, I wouldn't have to be involved in the core business and therefore couldn't be held responsible for its failure. If the project failed, it would be the R&D team's fault, not the project lead's. I'm a genius. Perfect. This way, I can slack off with a clear conscience. I'll just come to the office, drink some tea, read the news, and wait for the project to fail so I can get my payout and leave. Perfect. I mentally congratulated myself on my brilliance. Logistics and morale. He's trying to be a glorified office manager to avoid responsibility. He's certainly resourceful. And if he's the logistics manager, he can't possibly interfere with the technical side. It's not a bad way to keep him occupied and close by. Ilara listened to my proposal and fell silent. She looked at me, her eyes deep and unreadable, like a bottomless lake. Her gaze made me a little nervous. What's wrong? Is my suggestion not good? It's the perfect plan to avoid responsibility. Raiden, she finally said. Yes. Are you saying you want to be a hands-off manager? No, not at all, I quickly denied. This is about smart delegation, putting people where they can do the most good. My talent lies in logistics and boosting morale. Ilara didn't speak. She walked a slow circle around me, as if inspecting a piece of merchandise. Finally, she stopped in front of me. Fine, she said. I beamed. She agreed. She actually agreed. But she added 2 more words. My heart jumped back into my throat. You'll have to find your own budget for logistics. Me? Wait a minute, lady. How am I supposed to manage logistics without a budget? Am I supposed to power it with love? Are you telling me I have to pay out of my own pocket to buy snacks for your employees? That's just cruel. You'll have to find your own budget for logistics. The silence in the conference room was deafening. My face, which had been bright with the joy of a slacker who had successfully dodged responsibility, instantly fell. Are you serious, Ilara Sterling? Do you have any idea how much those high-end organic gluten-free pastries your executives eat cost? And team-building events? I'm supposed to pay for a whole company's worth of catering and activities out of my allowance? My allowance, which is already stretched thin supporting my current lifestyle? This is daylight robbery. This is a deliberate act of financial cruelty. You want to drain my money, don't you? So I'll be completely broke when you kick me out. I looked at Alara, my expression one of deep betrayal. Alara, are you trying to test my commitment to you? I asked, my voice trembling slightly. He's resorting to emotional blackmail now. How dramatic. It's working. I almost feel guilty. Alara didn't flinch. She simply tilted her head. Perhaps. I'm testing how far your unwavering, death-defying devotion goes. There's no running away from this. She's got me cornered. I have to accept this. If I refuse now, I'm clearly breaking character, and my plan to make her hate me will be ruined. But my poor wallet. I closed my eyes and took a dramatic, fortifying breath. Fine, I'll take it. I'll pay. But I'm going to cut corners so badly, the snacks will be stale, the coffee will be instant, and the team-building event will be a group staring at a wall for an hour. That'll lower morale, which will also contribute to the project's failure. It's a win-win for my retirement plan. I opened my eyes, the look of betrayal replaced by one of forced, stoic resolve. Very well, Alara. Since it is your wish, I will find a way. My commitment to you is priceless, and no budget can contain it. I bowed slightly. If you'll excuse me, I need to go acquire some paper plates. I walked out of the room, file in hand, feeling like a warrior going to war with a butter knife. The next 2 weeks were the busiest, most miserable, yet surprisingly productive 2 weeks of my life. I had fully embraced my role as the project's logistics manager, cheerleader, but since I had no budget, I had to get creative. My plan to fail: lower morale, use the cheapest, most pathetic snacks, and the most boring, useless team-building activities to make the R&D team completely miserable and resentful, financial drain. Waste my money extravagantly so I can be broke and ready for my graceful exit. No interference. Avoid all technical input to ensure the project runs on its original flawed path toward failure, the reality, the Miller effect, snacks and catering. Instead of buying expensive pastries, I decided to cook. My logic was simple. Cooking for 100 people is time-consuming and messy, which will wear me down, and the R&D executives would be too snobby to eat a home-cooked meal from their incompetent boss. Day 1. I made a massive batch of churros and dark chocolate sauce with fresh spices. The whole floor smelled like a 5-star bakery. I left a sign. Home cooked by Raiden. A humble attempt to boost morale. Inner monologue. They'll take one look at this cheap street food and scoff. Mission accomplished. Alara's inner monologue. The smell is incredible. Is he secretly a talented chef? Result. The churros were a massive hit. Mr. Warren, the R&D director, who hated my guts, was seen discreetly coming back for a third churro, wiping the chocolate from his glasses. The technical team, who usually ate tasteless cafeteria food at their desks, came out, chatted, and actually smiled. They started calling it Chef Raiden's Break Time. Day 5. I made gourmet nasi goreng, fried rice. I went to a lot of trouble to find the perfect mix of Kit Kat mayonnaise, sweet soy sauce, and spices. The executives, who had probably only ever eaten bland, haute cuisine, wouldn't appreciate the deep complexity of a street food masterpiece. Inner monologue. They won't understand the nuance of the spice profile. They'll complain that it's too spicy or too filling. Excellent. Leo, the marketing manager, to his colleague. Dude, this nasi goreng is better than the place I spent $30 on last week. The new boss is actually really nice. Result. The R&D team loved it so much they asked if they could take the leftovers home. The team's overall energy level and sense of camaraderie noticeably improved. Team building. I had to organize a team building event. My plan was to make it so boring it would be a complete waste of time. I decided on a guided relaxation session in the park where everyone would just sit still and listen to ambient bird sounds for 2 hours. Inner monologue. They'll hate this. They'll complain about the wasted time. They'll realize I'm a joke. Flop achieved. Ilara's inner monologue. They're stressed. A simple break is exactly what they need. He might be onto something. Result, it turned out the R&D team, who hadn't seen sunlight in months, desperately needed to de-stress. The session was a huge success. After the staring at a wall meditation, they started chatting naturally. And one of the junior engineers, out of the high of a relaxed mind, actually suggested a small but crucial adjustment to the power converter design. The suggestion was immediately forwarded for review, my finances. I was spending a ridiculous amount of money on high-quality ingredients. I was making food that was too good to be cheap. My account was bleeding. I was running out of money, fast. Mission accomplished. Financial ruin is imminent. In 2 weeks, the project team's morale, which was already at rock bottom due to the demanding nature of the work, had soared to an all-time high. People were laughing, sharing ideas, and the technical team was thanking me. The atmosphere in the office was vibrant, efficient, and buzzing with positive energy. The project was moving forward at a frightening, efficient pace. I've completely screwed up. I was supposed to be the cannon fodder, the disaster, the one who brings the company to its knees. Instead, I was running the logistics department like a well-oiled machine, powered by my own desperate attempts to fail. I was accidentally becoming the most effective, most liked project lead in the company's history. My reputation as a lovable screw-up was being replaced by a highly competent, culinary gifted leader. I was accidentally becoming a hero. Raiden, I need to talk to you, Ilara said, walking into my small, new, and surprisingly tidy office. It was the end of the second week. I was sitting at my desk, researching new recipes for depression-inducing lunch. I was considering plain boiled potatoes, and I shot up immediately. Ilara, is it time? Have you finally realized what a mistake you've made by promoting me? Are you going to fire me? I accept my fate with a cheerful heart. Why is he so eager to get fired? His thoughts are so bizarre. Ilara ignored my outburst and set a thick document on the table. It was the project proposal with a few new pages attached. The technical team reviewed the patent situation this week, she said. The core patent filing for the energy converter is pending, just as you predicted. They were able to find a flaw in the competitor's claim and are now moving to secure our technology. I stared at the document. It's already secured. I only gave a vague hint, and they actually figured it out. The original plot point, Caleb stealing the patent, is now completely neutralized. Thanks to your insight, we avoided a massive loss, Raiden, Ilara said, her voice completely serious. She then pointed to the new pages. Based on the efficiency and morale improvements of the last 2 weeks, I've adjusted the project's budget and timeline. The project is now 3 months ahead of schedule and under budget. I looked at the documents, my jaw hanging open. I, Raiden Miller, the simp, the cannon fodder, the man whose sole purpose was to fail, had just been responsible for a massive project success. My dream of early retirement was quickly fading into a nightmare of endless success. But, I stammered, I just cooked food and paid for everything out of my own pocket. This is all because of the R&D team. I had nothing to do with it. Ilara leaned in, resting her hands on the desk. Nonsense. The most important thing in a project is not technology, it's the people. You fix the people. You gave them an incentive, an environment, and a break they desperately needed. You made them want to work. You were the catalyst. You, Raiden, are a good leader. I'm a good leader? I'm a good leader? I'm trying to be a bad leader. This is a disaster. Ilara, I think there's been a huge misunderstanding. I'm not capable of leading. I'm a joke, a fool. I'm shallow. I'm arrogant. And I was planning on buying stale bread for the team. I'm a chef, not an executive. You should fire me immediately before I do something truly stupid. I stood up, genuinely panicked, hoping my sudden, loud confession would be enough to break this horrifying spell of competence. He's still trying to push me away. He's terrified of success. Why? Ilara watched my desperate outburst, her eyes softening slightly. She reached out and placed a hand on my arm. Raiden, look at me. I reluctantly met her gaze. Her eyes were deep and unwavering, and for the first time there was no contempt, no calculation, just a hint of respect. Stop running away from yourself, she said quietly. You're an excellent man, talented, perceptive, and you care deeply about people, even if you try to hide it behind this simp facade. Simp facade. Did she just say simp facade? She knows. She knows I'm pretending. My mind went blank. The final card had been played. I was exposed. You really think I didn't notice you trying to drive the hero away at the gala? Alara continued, her voice low. Or that you immediately took the lead on the project after pointing out its fatal flaw, knowing you would take the fall if anything went wrong. You weren't trying to fail, Raiden. You were trying to protect me. You are far more than a stepping stone. Tears sprang to my eyes. This is it. I'm going to be kicked out. My lie has been exposed. All my work has been for nothing. I'm broke and I'm fired. Goodbye, early retirement. I slumped into my chair, defeated. You're right, I'm a fraud. I just read about the project's failure and I stopped myself just short of saying a novel in a business report from a competitor. And I took the project because I knew I would fail and then you would kick me out and I could finally be free from this engagement. I don't want to be with you, Alara. I just want to retire and cook and play video games. I'm tired of being your disposable fiancé. I closed my eyes, waiting for the sound of papers being served. Alara was silent for a long time. The only sound was the gentle hum of the air conditioning. You don't want to be with me? She finally asked. Her voice was flat, containing a hint of something I couldn't place. I opened my eyes, gathering my courage. No! I told you, I love cooking. I love my freedom. This engagement is a gilded cage. Alara simply stood up straight. She looked down at me, and a slow, beautiful smile spread across her face. Good, she said. My heart nearly stopped. Good? She's happy I don't want to be with her? Raiden, she continued, her eyes sparkling with a mischievous light I had never seen before. I have no interest in marriage either. I want to run a global corporation, not a household. I stared at her, dumbfounded. Then why the engagement? The same reason as you, I imagine, Alara said, shrugging her shoulders slightly. It's a shield, a way to stop the relentless pressure from my family and the press to marry some boring socialite. I needed someone disposable, someone with a ridiculous reputation to serve as a high-profile, low-commitment buffer. You were perfect. I was perfect? I was a human shield, and she's telling me this now? So, Alara said, picking up her file, since you've successfully proven you're not disposable, but a highly valuable asset, I have a new proposal for you. A proposal? I asked cautiously, my dreams of retirement cautiously resurfacing. Yes, we continue this arrangement. The engagement stays for the press, but... She paused and pointed a finger at the project file. I'm putting you in charge of all future major project logistics. I'll pay you an actual enormous salary, with a generous logistics budget this time, and a massive bonus when the South District project is completed successfully. She leaned down, her face close to mine. You can cook, you can organize, you can boost morale, and you can keep my company safe from self-proclaimed heroes. In return, I'll give you an insane amount of money, total freedom in your job, and most importantly, I'll take care of the press and the families. No one will ever bother you about getting married again. She held out her hand. What do you say, Raiden? The perfect business partnership, an incompetent simp, and a ruthless CEO. I looked at the contract in front of me. A lucrative salary, massive bonuses, complete autonomy, and a fake engagement that guaranteed my freedom from social pressure. It was the perfect deal. It was a retirement plan better than my original one, of financial security that would allow me to cook and play video games for the rest of my life. And I wouldn't have to marry the villain, who was suddenly much less villainous. I looked at Alara, whose face was calm and composed, and for the first time, I saw not a villain, but a fellow mastermind. I shook her hand. Alara, you've got yourself a deal. You handle the world, and I'll handle the logistics. Epilogue. The next day, the news broke in the business world. Sterling Industries stocks soared with the news of the South District project moving ahead of schedule, all due to the surprisingly competent leadership of the new project head, Raiden Miller. Later that week, I was in the office, happily reviewing an expensive order for gourmet coffee beans and artisan cookies for the team, when Leo, the marketing manager, walked into my office. Raiden, I have a friend who's looking to invest in a company that specializes in a new type of low-cost energy converter technology. He's a real visionary. He thinks he can save your project. I looked up at Leo, who was nervously fiddling with his gold-rimmed glasses. The hero, Caleb Vance, was making his final move, trying to get his foot in the door through his college buddy. I smiled, a genuine, relaxed smile. Leo, that's great. But we're good. Our project is 3 months ahead of schedule, and the core patent issue has been resolved. But tell your friend if he wants to invest in a new business, say a small independent restaurant with great nasi goreng and a killer churro recipe, have him give me a call. I'm looking for a good side project. Leo's jaw dropped. Inner monologue. Sorry, Caleb, not today. My boss and I are too busy being successful together. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go approve the budget for a company-wide field trip to a 5-star Michelin restaurant. My treat, paid for by the new logistics budget, of course.